Hello there. So today I'm going to take you through something very straightforward and common like an omelette, but I'm going to do things to it to make it so much more powerful in terms of building you up. If you're preparing for a treat or just need to get yourself built up anyway. So I'm starting off with my free range eggs. I happen to have from a local supplier, so I got different breeds of hen in the same packet, which is pretty cool. I'm very interested by the Japanese and the Chinese because they eat far more eggs than most people do, and they are incredibly healthy. So I've got a really newfound increased respect for the power of eggs to build you up if you need to be built up. And I'm going to put some really conventional things in, like a little bit of salt, and I'm going to put some herbs, a little bit of oregano, and a little bit of thyme. I don't know why it is, but one of my absolute favourite spices is paprika. Don't understand why I'm so keen on it, but I really am. So put a little bit of paprika in as well. Now this is where it starts to get more interesting. So I'm going to put some of this green nori sprinkle, which is a seaweed, which is so good for your improving your iron levels if you're someone that's a bit deficient in iron, and generally good for a whole range of nutrients. And I'm going to put just a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano in as well. I'm not at the plant diet stage of the diet at the moment, so a little bit of cheese, put a little bit of that in as well. Now it's a funny thing, but if you were to put mushrooms in your omelette, you're actually making a medicine against getting dementia and Alzheimer's. It's pretty bizarre, isn't it? A mushroom omelette. Who would have thought that? And also berries, all berries, very, very good for preventing cognitive decline, which is what leads to things like Alzheimer and dementias. So what I'm going to specifically add, I mean, I like to think of it as a spinach omelette, and when it's spinach time, that's what I put in, but there's no spinach at the moment, so it's kale, so I'm going to put just a little bit of kale in, not much at all. And because it's a slightly tougher vegetable than spinach, we need to cut it nice and fine. Just toss that in as well. And now I'm thinking about getting the pan on the stove, putting some oil in it, which I will now do. So half a heaped teaspoon of coconut oil will do me. Just put that in the pan so it can melt while I finish. I'm just going to put a little bit of parsley in as well. Now you could either put your parsley on top afterwards. I just feel like putting it in this morning, so that's what I'm going to do. So meanwhile the oil is melting in the pan, and I don't even bother with a whisk, I just use a fork, it's good enough. It's a little bit like making a homeopathic remedy in a funny way, because we're actually subjecting it to a process. When we do this, we're actually causing the different ingredients to combine and become activated in the bowl. And now it's time for me to move the whole operation over to the pan. So let's just do that. So the thing about green vegetables, they're just so incredibly good for us. So any chance you can get to put some green vegetables into a dish, it's going to be a helpful thing to do. Right, so it's pretty much ready. I'll just give it a final little extra whisk. This is where I want my silicone spatula to get the last of the little bits out of the pan, out of the bowl rather. I do think they're wonderful things. Look at all the extra I get out just because I use that spatula. Now another twist, I do like to put some gamasio and sprinkle it on top of my omelette cooking in the pan there. So this gamasio is sesame seeds ground up with sea salt, and it alkalizes the blood, so it's a powerful medicine in its own right. So I just sprinkle at the top. It also does some amazing things to flavour. So much about food's all about the flavour, isn't it? So I've transformed that omelette into something rather special, having done those few little things. So I'm just poking around in my drawer looking for my spatula. Great. So I'm just leaving it like that, doing its thing for a few minutes. And the way I like to have my omelette is when I've actually cooked it, I like to get some kimchi and put it in the omelette before I fold it over. The thing about kimchi is, you know, it's so good for your gut. It contains all sorts of prebiotics as well as the probiotic component as well. It's just so incredibly wonderful. And when I started to eat kimchi anyway, really was to make it yourself, but you can buy it almost everywhere now, not a problem. So what I will do is I'll just see if it wants to be lifted up. Oh, it's almost there, but it's still a bit runny, isn't it? So I'm going to leave it a little bit longer, give it a little bit more time. And I do find having an omelette, just because it's packed with so much extra nutrition, if I've got to be outside doing physical stuff in the cold, it's great. It keeps me going longer than some other foods we could have at breakfast. I reckon that's probably nearly there. Let's have another go. Still a little bit runny because I'm making a film. I'm a bit impatient to get it to the point of ready to turn, and it's just not there, so that's it. So it gives you an idea, because we've taken 8 minutes so far, so really from beginning to being able to eat, it's still only 10 minutes. And over it goes, that's it. So it's a lovely golden brown colour. And the thing about eggs, it's a really good thing not to overcook them, because they do have so many wonderful nutrients, and some of them do get damaged by being overcooked. So it's good if you give it enough time, but not too much. It particularly applies when you're frying something as well, because you get so much higher temperature than you would do when you're boiling in water, for example. So over boiling in water, not an issue. Over frying in oil is an issue. And literally I've just got a couple of minutes to wait on that. Or maybe even less time actually. So because I cut the greens up small, they will cook in the short amount of time that they're having in the pan. So there's the omelette, a bit of kimchi on top, like that. Fold it in half, and that's my breakfast. There we go. All the love to you.